I do. The system can do so many things, isn't it? Wow. It's like
Yeah.
it's frustrating me. Something that I am now wearing and that I really don't like it. But anyway, well, if I have to choose, then let me see. We have some other presenter. It's gone a few minutes. Let's see. Maybe I can. Now that I learned that, let me high view. Let me see. Oops, Maria is with us. Oh, what happened now? Oh boy. Gallery show self view. Okay. Let me go to choose background. All right. So already this background, then although I don't have lipstick, but anyway, we leave it as it is. But this is very interesting. So, all right. It is what it is. Let's see how many members do we have. Hmm. Mhm. Let me see if I can turn the other light. Let me see. I don't know if this is gonna be possible. I can try. Maybe at least the lips it will go away. I'm not sure. Okay. Let's see how many members. ¿Eh? Ajá. Sí, eso estoy mirando. All right, let's call the meeting to order and let me just post my my telephone. All right. Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Faye Forimon. This meeting, by the way, before I identify myself, I wanted to say that this meeting is called to order. Today is Monday, December 12, 2022, for the record. And right now, this meeting has been called to order at 7:02 p.m. I want to welcome everyone. And I would like to start asking members of this committee, Youth and Education Committee, to please identify yourself for the record. I am Maria Luna, member of the board for a long time, also serve on the aging committee. Welcome, everybody. Thank you, Maria. Next.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jacob Banas, a newer member of the board and also a member of the Health and Environment Committee as well.
Thank you, Jacob. Yes, next member. Guillermo, are you with us? Could you
Yes.
identify yourself, please?
Yes,
For the
Guillermo
record.
Perez,
Thank you, Guillermo.
a public member.
Wonderful. Thank you, Guillermo. Let's see who else here. Let's see. Do we have all the members? Not yet. I guess some of them are going to be late today. So all right. So let's proceed then with our agenda. As you know, I want to thank you, each and every one of you, for attending our meeting, our presenters, of course, our guests. Thank you so much for joining us. And I want to go just to give you, I'm going to go over the agenda. So at least, members who have not had the time to read, the agenda before. I wanted to say that we had actually we have one presentation and we have also a guest. Our first guest is going to be Wally Camille. She is the deputy superintendent for our school district 6. She actually is the assistant of the deputy superintendent, or the one in charge of the superintendent, Manuel Ramirez, who is our actual, superintendent in our school district 6 for a very long time. I believe probably for the past, I think since 2015, if I'm not mistaken. And we will have a discussion about school safety and radio channel policy. That it's something that I think is new. So we will go in details later on this. After her conversation, with us, we're going to have the opportunity to ask questions for folks who may want to have, any questions. So following her discussion, we're going to have, we have actually a guest, Tori Castle, who is the director for NYC Carbon Free and Healthy School Campaign, who is going to be presenting. I don't know if she have any other colleague with her, but I know the presentation is going to be headed by, by Castle, and it's going to be presenting about climate jobs in New York, and its Carbon Free and Healthy School Campaign. Following that, I wanted to also add on the title, that is how it will benefit students, schools and neighborhoods in the northern Manhattan. We also all going to have the opportunity to ask questions to Tori and so forth. So following her presentation, we're going to have All in New Business, where the community, anyone present, may have the opportunity to make any announcement, as I expect my committee to have also some announcement, and then it's going to, of course, we will be adjourning the meeting. So let me welcome Wally and Camille to our meeting. Camille, I understand. First of all, I wanted to thank you so much for volunteering, to speak with us about the issue that, we are facing. I don't think it's the end of the world or anything like that, but, changes are constantly happening in our community and everywhere. And last month we learned about that there is a new, I don't know if it's a policy or just a minor change that had happened on some of the school. And I think that's also include our school district, in which it's about the radio channel, that a lot of school, they have a school safety within the building. And the idea is that if the school incurred into any incident with the student, like fights that sometimes, happens, so the school have access to a school safety, right in there, they communicate with the radio channel, and being on the first floor or in the main floor. So they immediately, at least if a staff call, they immediately will be, addressing the issue. But I understand that there was some minor changes in which a new policy emerged, in which they don't have staff, they don't have that access to a school safety in case of any incident, not as fast as it used to be. So this is my understanding, and when I say my understanding, I think that echo to the rest of my colleagues. So, and given the nature that it is so important for a school staff, in case of any incident, that they may have access to a school safety immediately, and not to wait too long for an officer to arrive at the scenes, just to avoid any further, problem, or that the problem gets, complicated. So I just wanted we wanted to address that issue, with you. And again, thank you for, for volunteering, to join us. So tell us about, this new policy coming from the school safety. How exactly did that came, into place? Or tell us whatever you know, so we can proceed with questions and things like that. And again, thank you.
You are welcome, and good evening, everybody. As Faye shared, I am the Deputy Superintendent for District 6, working alongside Superintendent Ramirez. I am new. I just became the deputy in September, so I will do my best to share as much information as I have. For those who don't already know me, before I became the deputy superintendent, I have been the principal of the Muskota New School in District 6 in Inwood for the past 11 years. So to your point, Faye, yes, there has been a change. In September, it is my understanding that the New York Police Department made a decision to issue all safety agents new radios and required them to stay on the police department frequency. So that would mean that they could be hearing and have immediate contact with the police department. As Faye shared, although that's an important new development, we want our safety agents to be able to reach the police as quickly as possible. It then made it not possible to have our safety agents on the frequency that the school uses, which is problematic because as principals and school staff, we need to be in contact with our safety agents. So although the policy is currently the same, that safety agents were issued radios by the police department and must remain on that frequency, all of our schools in District 6 have issued our safety agents another radio that belongs to the school so that they can also be on our frequency. So safety agents have 2 radios right now in all of our schools. And I believe that the police department, I know of one school in particular, I don't know for sure if it's all schools, but that the police department has also been willing to issue the second radio to make sure that safety agents can remain on the school's frequency as well. So that's sort of what the workaround is right now. And my understanding is, for the most part, that the safety agents have been able to manage the 2 radios and feel like they are both in contact with the school easily. and they have access to the police department. So that's kind of where we're at right now, from my understanding.
All right, I guess this is something, new and, definitely very, very new. But if you can put it in one sentence, for example, about all these changes, what would you say that, why did that change, take place exactly?
Sorry about that. I don't know for sure why the police department made that decision. I know that as people have been concerned about safety issues in the community and safety issues across our country, I think the police department felt that they wanted to make sure that school safety agents were aware of what was happening and that they had immediate access to them. But unfortunately, I don't know their exact reasoning. I'm just guessing.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this, because to me, I understand that the school team were able to chat and the same radio channel, and that was something very, important. But the way I see things now, I really trying to educate myself as well, or all of us trying to educate ourselves, because this is a very important matter. And as far as I understand, the change in channel and frequency causes a lot of lack of communication. And although, for example, the level 3 surgeon gets a radio from the school and it's on the school frequency, he is required to be on his own frequency. Being on 2 frequency causes confusions and delay, and could be the difference between someone living or dying. Like I say, for example, if there is an emergency and the staff call the school safety, they call the school safety. So by the time that they arrive, it's going to be a gap, and anything, the situation can get even worse, I don't know how really to so we can go about this. So one of the things that I also I wanted to say, which I understand, is that the level 3 surgeon is the only one who gets this radio. He is the only one, as opposed before, if there was an emergency and the school staff call, any other officer on the floor can hear this, but not anymore. So one example that I single out in the last meeting is that this, to me personally, it's like there is an emergency in the school and they're going to call 311 and wait for 311 to respond, that kind of a scenario. So no other agents get it, gets the radio. So communication with agents has been increasingly difficult, I can imagine, as a result of this, and also dangerous, for the school staff. So do you think that there is any, well, before I even ask you that question, have your office expressed the concern or something similar that may happen as a result of this situation? Or let me ask you, what is the view of your office in this change? Is your office, feel happy about this?
Well, I can't speak for Superintendent Ramirez because I didn't discuss that with him, but I certainly can. But for the most part, we have not heard our school staff at this moment that they're not able to communicate with their safety agents, that they have been able to issue their own radios, and there hasn't, as far as I know, there have been lapses, but I can certainly survey our school principals to make sure that the way this policy is playing out in our schools is not making people feel like it's jeopardizing fast communication with their agents. So I can look into that, but I have not heard that at this moment.
And by the way, do you know if there are any additional units of agents on the floor to support the school staff in this case?
Well, I do know one of our challenges is, there's many schools that are always feeling like they would appreciate an additional agent. That's one of our challenges. Most schools, only have one agent. As you know, the George Washington Academy has the most, probably with over 10, but still not the amount that has been recommended. Many of our schools would appreciate 2 or 3, but are operating with 1. So I haven't heard that there's lack of communication among the safety agents at this particular time. I think the concern with safety agents is that I think we have a couple schools that would like to see more agents in their building, especially our schools that have 2 to 3 schools within a campus, or where maybe they have a charter school, or where their arrivals or their dismissals start to overlap. That can be a challenge if they only have one agent.
So as we're speaking, then the usual number of agents that used to be in school. Well, you mentioned George Washington, for example. That means that, like, how many agents do they have right now? That you can, hypothetically speaking, if you don't know for sure, because I know there used to be quite a few in there, if not many.
Yeah, I don't have the exact number of how many agents are at the George Washington campus, but I know they have about 10 or 11. They potentially may even have more. But I do know of schools that I know the Mirabel campus currently only has 1, or many days they only have 1, and I think they would like to have 2, like I said, because there's several schools in that building. There also are school that just welcomed the D75 school, so they have more kids, more people. But I do know we have 1 in every school.
Wow. And let me ask you a question. Wow, this is really this is not a good situation, So do you know if these agents and potential new agents are going to be getting like additional training to support your staff, maybe?
I don't know for certain what training the New York Police Department has for the agents, but I do know that many of them have received training in de-escalation, in working with positive approaches to discipline. Some of them have had, I think all of them have had the implicit bias training. I know many safety agents participate in some school-based, PD when the kids aren't in the building, if they're capable, just to continue to learn the cultures of our schools around a positive approach to discipline, or around how the team works together when responding to kids in crisis. So I imagine we would certainly advocate for continuous training of our safety agents, and continue to advocate for them being an important voice in supporting schools with ensuring, not just the physical safety of our kids, but their emotional safety as well.
So I wonder, in your role, and and even more than yourself, I guess, the superintendent, more than anyone else. So I wonder, but in your case, let's say, since you're the one with us, so yes, I understand. So with the shortage, of agent that we already have all over the city, I should say.
Right.
So how can we going to make sure that that so change, what is what I wanted to say? Like, how can we make sure that this change, would happen? Let me see. I'm trying to articulate this question the best I can possibly want it to. Like I'm trying to arrive at a situation in which, well, the police department already are short for agent. One of the things that they really want, and they complaining, and the community actually had acknowledged, is that they need more agents. And with this situation now at the school, so I just wonder, how can we make sure a change at this time, in sense of increasing more school safety in school will be possible? Because we're not sure that the fact that they came up with this policy, it seems to me that the potential for this situation remain or getting worse is looking at us. It's possible, because I don't know how they can increment more school safety since they have done the opposite. It's kind of complex to express this, but yeah. So I'm wondering how exactly they are going to prevent situations like, for example, when they have an emergency and a school is going to depend, or they're going to be at the mercy of a phone call. How exactly they think they're going to correct that problems, if they don't have a sufficient agents? So my question to you basically is, are you sure, or you think that they're really going to increase the number of agents in school?
I wish I had a crystal ball and could say yes. I do know that, I know the police department is actively recruiting. If we could support young people to see being a school safety agent as a possible opportunity, a career step, to join our schools in that capacity. I know, it has the potential to be a good job. It has the potential to be a stepping stone to be a member of the New York Police Department, if that's something you're interested in. So I feel like the more we can just keep telling our young adults who are entering the workforce to maybe check out being a safety agent, because I think there's I think there's a shortage right now. And I don't know, you might know more than me about whether, there's funding to hire more, but I do know we need recruits. I do know we need young people to apply. Crossing guard as well.
It's something we've been advocating, yes, to the increase of police officer. And what I found it interesting is that, okay, a school is supposed to be one of the safer places in our community.
Absolutely.
And especially at high school level, where a lot of problems, we know that exist there. So we already are in need of more school safety officers. And with this policy, it's the opposite is happening. Instead of increasing more, it's being a decrease, and then to make it even worse, because the fact that they changed the policy of radio channel, that means that they are depending on a phone call to address an issue, and with the hope that the officer will arrive on time, or will, to solve the problem, when before they have the officers right on, and the premise. You see what I'm trying to arrive at? So it's contradicting, because the fact that they change this policy, in which the staff can no longer call school safety, let's say in the main floor, listen, there is an issue here on the second floor, please come up immediately. So now they have to place, let's say, a phone call and wait for the school safety to send. I don't know from where they're gonna come, but that's something that I would like to know. They probably gonna be asking officers to come from outside, from the local prison. I don't know from where they're gonna come, because if they don't have sufficient, if they only have, let's say 2 or 3, you say about 10 officers. I don't know for the school that have 4 high school, besides all the programs, I don't know how exactly this is going to play out. So, but one thing though I wanted to say is, or to, add in this situation, is that school staff are not peace officers, nor they are cops. So the agents must be there to stop the security concerns, because we know that student fights and all this kind of problematic issue, it's in there constantly. So this is something, I don't know if the superintendent, how he had, accept this, what kind of conversation he had, whether or not he just accept the policy or has challenged the policy. But I think this is something that deserves more conversation. And I'm wondering, do you know if the school or notify the parents about this policy?
Just a couple things, Faye, thank you for bringing it up the way you are, but just to clarify that all of our safety agents do have a school issued radio, so the school can communicate with the safety agents. Just want to make sure that that's clear, that they did issue that to agents. So a principal on the 3rd floor can immediately say to a safety agent, we need your support or help right away on the radio. It's a different channel than the police frequency. It's a different radio. I am not aware one way or the other of whether schools wrote letters to their parent communities about the change, but I can look into that and find out whether or not, principals directly communicated with parents. So I can follow up on that for sure.
I definitely would appreciate that, and as well that you keep us informed. And I think that one of the things that I'm sure that the community, especially community, our board, since we represent the voice of one of the voices in the community, that we not only want to hear when things are going color, rosy,
Right.
We don't want to hear about rosy picture. We want to hear also when there is a challenge situation, so we can also go along and defend the superintendent position on behalf of the parents, because I don't think that when there is a kind of policy changes like that, the school should just accept whatever comes along. The school is supposed to work with the parents and keep the parents informed. Because just imagine for 1 second that there is an incident, and as a result of this new policy, somebody get killed or somebody die, or and they didn't arrive on time. What would be there is a liability in there. So if the superintendent has challenged this policy or he has not, I really urge him to tell us exactly what is his position on this, because we need, just for the sake of transparency, we need to know where we are with this, because if in the future we need to defend any position that he's gonna need the support from the community, we don't want to hear when he did not make us part of the policy, or when of the initial of this conversation. We want to be aware of everything possible, of course, within his discretion. I'm volunteer very much in this community for so many years, and 2015, one of the things that I incorporated in my task, one of my tasks, is to work close with the police and building relationship with the community. And I think that this is something, I'm surprised that I didn't heard about this before. But this is something that I will not question the school safety first, but I think protocol says that in my role, I want to question on behalf, or along with my committee, the superintendent office, because you are guys the main player in here. Mm-hmm. You represent the school. You are the school system, and you work with our parents. So we are just only the voice to second whatever policy or issue you wanted us to advocate for, And I think, again, that anything that comes along your way, I think that we don't want to hear, because one of the parents, for example, told me, oh, this is something new, or one of the staff or whoever. We want to hear from the superintendent office. And I think that his role as a superintendent is to work with us. So tell him that we expect him to be more transparent with us. We really believe in building relationship, not in theory, but I really mean it. And he probably it's watching us on YouTube, which he can do that later on. But tell him that he knows of how I feel about those things, and he knows about my character when it comes about those things. So I really appreciate that he allowed us to be part of this, and any other things that may affect our students, our parents, and that in the name of building relationship, this is something that we owe to work together. So I really hope that out of this policy, more conversation, he's willing to open and also to bring a school safety on board along with his office. Perhaps at the January meeting, we can invite school safety along with him to see what is the future projection on this. Because my concern in this conversation is the existing gap that the school is facing right now between the school having an issue and calling a school safety. How exactly how long it will take for them to respond? Like, I really wanted to know, because maybe the way I perceive this, maybe I am wrong. And since you, perhaps, as you have said, this is something new, you may not have all the details, and probably both of us there is more information that we don't know yet, but I'm eager to know on behalf of the community. And certainly I would appreciate dearly if you can, pass that, along with him, and you're welcome to come next month, in a school safety. If he can contact a school safety and tell a school safety that we want to have this conversation publicly, okay? So at least everybody will know exactly what is going on. Because right now, after this conversation, we are still going to be in limbo, because there is things that you don't know exactly, and neither I. So I only know exactly what I just, told you. And this is why my committee, we want to know exactly what is going on. So I hope that you come, next month, and the superintendent, along with the school safety. Now, I would like to open the floor for my colleagues and then the rest of our guests if they want to ask questions. But in between, and most important, I really and deeply want to thank you so much for your time and the information that you have provided us with. So thank you so much, Ms. Camille. Okay, members, I see Maria. Yes, Maria. Maria have a question. Let's see who else.
Well, I have a question and I have a concern. Number one, the conversation between the two of you, it went away for a little while, went mute, so we didn't know what was happening. I wasn't clear.
Yes.
So that's number one. Number two, I'm glad that this issue came up. As someone that does not have a child in school, the only thing that I recall is that the safety agents that we have were really police officers that will come by the area, the school, and maintain order when it's needed. I was not aware that it's a safety officers within the school that are not really police officers, and I'm concerned about what type of training they have. That's my number one thing. Second, if we are talking about getting people trying to get involved in this particular new jobs, who's going to be responsible for that? Are they under the Department of the Education, or are they going to be under the police department? Now, safety for me is to increase the way things were happening all over the world, all over the schools, shootings and things like that. High school always have a tendency of having more adults, youngsters that will take physically action when they feel that they have to, and they have to be someone within the school system to try to control that particular situation. Now, I will hate to see a police department, a police force in every school. I think this is not conducive to education. And I think that it merits a supervision and also understanding that what is it that we need as far as safety is concerned. Say there is someone about that have get sick, and we have to make sure that they have a nurse in the system and things like that can handle that situation without a safety agent coming on board. Safety also for me is that as the director, the principal of the school are very much aware of what are the needs within their, the schools are necessary. You cannot just open up a can of worms when, a child misbehave and things like that because it doesn't have a sense of control of what that school is all about. Something more that I would like to urge superintendent and whoever. They have nothing to do with the community, the parents, the children. It is more of the type of control that the principal have within that institution, that school, that merits how much help they need from outside. So I think that there is a lot of questions here. Are they, the safety agents have guns? Are they armed? I mean, is that just a telephone or a walkie-talkie necessary only for controlling a situation? I would hate to see someone with a uniform, like an army, going up and down stairs and things like that, sending a wrong message. So there is a lot for us to take a look at as far as safety is all about. We need to send the kids to the school to be educated academically and with a different type of behavior. And I just don't know if a more safety officer within the school is going to solve problems that instead of solving problems, it's going to increase situation within our system. There's more for me to say, but as I said, for the conversation between the two of you, there is a lot of information that needs to be addressed in this type of forum. And thank you so much, Miss Camille?
Camille.
Yes,
Yes,
good
Judy
luck to
Camille.
your new job. It seems that you are still learning. Although you were working on a school before, I don't know what type of school was that. Is that high school, middle school, things like that? And the type of situation that you encounter when you were working on that particular school. Maybe you can expand a little on that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Maria. All right. Anybody else may have any question? Okay, Jacob, no question. Okay. All right. So, on a different note, but within education, I just wanted to, this is not part of the agenda, but it just occurred with me because it's something about the swimming pool. I don't know if you heard or you were aware of the condition of the swimming pool in George Washington. So we have been advocating for this swimming pool, like, my God, maybe like 8 years, if not more. I know one of them was kind of, they fix a little bit, but they still, that is the, they both need, you know, they need to be repaired. So one of them in particular, I have a picture that it doesn't look too good. It doesn't look good at all, I should say. Chanel, yeah, this is how the water looks like. It's so green, it's so unhealthy. And I wanted to show you that picture so you can have an idea of the condition of that pool. So I just wanted to ask you one single question. Have you heard any conversation about what the your office is intended to address this issue, or is already working on that issue? So what is exactly is going on with this?
So just first, I just want to thank all of you before I answer what I know about the pool. Just
Yeah.
thank all of you for your interest in the school safety agents and ensuring the continuous safety of our schools. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Regarding the pools, I am aware that the GW campus has 2 swimming pools. And I
Correct.
know the dream is that both swimming pools are up and running and functional, and that funds are dedicated to getting both pools up. But I believe the reality is going to be that for sure, one pool is being prioritized, and then looking at some other potential things that need to be done at the campus that might trump the second pool, at least in the short term. But I know everybody is committed to making sure that there is swimming pools, at least one to start, but both eventually at the GW campus. There's a big push for that, a lot of commitment around that.
So you,
Go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, my understanding was that there was already some work done on one of the pools. I'm not sure if it was related to the green. I also know there was just a walkthrough with some of the George Washington campus principals and the superintendent's office, talking about what is the priorities of work to be done on that campus.
Yeah.
But that everybody's committed to the pools.
Everybody's committed to the pool. Do you know, like, any idea when they're going to start working on the second pool, or at least to say, well, we finished? Because both of them, there is one that they have not touched it yet.
Yeah, the one
Okay.
that hasn't. Yeah, I'm not sure, Faye.
Yes.
one that hasn't been touched yet. I don't know where that's at in the process at this point with facilities or SCA or the funding or whatnot. But I do know it's a big push to do our best to have the pools at GW up and running for the kids and the community. I think one of the goals with the second pool, right, is that it could be used for the community. So there's a lot of excitement and energy around doing whatever it takes to get the pools up and running.
I think this is highly important issue too, because I know the school also had made, graded, investment in terms of, fixing a lot of things. And when they got, I understood that was about like 50 millions to repair a lot of the things that I think that's include the windows and the auditorium. But one thing that I think is really deserve a lot of attention is the elevator. And the elevator, I think that should have been fixed before the window. The window should have been the last thing. Between the elevator, the auditorium, and the pool, that shouldn't be the priority. But anyway, it's water under the bridge already. So we take whatever we can get, and we're grateful. But I think in line that the pool is something that I wish the superintendent push for that, because this is very important. So none of these pools are really, one is they have not even touched it, and the other one they started working on it a long time ago, but it still is not at his best. It's not fixed yet. And I think this is something very important. Kids can learn to swim in there. The community can have access to one of those as it used to be many decades ago and so forth. But, tell him that we need that leadership to start, putting, working and fight for us. We don't want a passive leadership. We want, and he needs our push. We're willing to help him. We're willing to scream. We're not afraid to talk or to speak to, to elect our elected official. And I'm sure that if we speak to them and we're consistent, they're going to listen to us more so. But anyway, I just wanted to say thank you so much, Ms. Camille. Thank you so much. Thank Superintendent Ramirez on our behalf. I really appreciate that although he couldn't attend, but at least he was kind enough to allow you to join us. And equally important, let him know that we are willing to fight, for whatever needs to be fight. So somebody have to listen to us. And to take this situation like more seriously, because this is really very important. Tell him to think about liability. This is not something that should have been taken light. This is very serious thing. And I'm sure he knows that, but I don't know how seriously he sees it in his mind. So thank you so much.
Oh, you are welcome. And thank you so much for inviting me. And again, I appreciate all of your support and willingness to, work with us. And I will see Superintendent Ramirez tomorrow and let him know how the meeting went. So
my regards,
everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. You willing, if you want to stay, you can stick around, or you may leave as you please. But you're more welcome to stay and witness the next conversation and what is going to be next. Yes.
Thank you very much. All right. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye, Dale. All right. So before we move to the next item in our agenda, I would like to allow our members that join us a little bit late. Michelle and Luis, can you identify yourself for the record, please? Luis? Michelle?
Yes, this is Luis Cruz. I'm a member of the Community Youth and Education Committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Luis.
Hi, everybody. My name is Michelle. I'm also a member of the Youth and Education Committee on Community Board 12.
Thank you. Now, guys, I just wanted to ask you, please remain attentive, although I cannot see you, which is okay with me, but please don't disappear on me. I may need your support. And I know that the picture says that you are there, but sometimes you may not be. And that's what I would be afraid or concerned. So please just stay there with us because this is the idea. Thank you. All right. So let's move to our second part of the agenda. Now we're going to have our guest, Tori Castle. I hope I pronounced her names correctly. As I say, she is the director of NYC Carbon Free and Healthier School Campaign. And she will be presenting us about climate, jobs, New York, and its Carbon Free and Healthier School Campaign, how it will benefit students, schools, and neighborhoods in our community of or in Northern Manhattan. Ms. Castle, welcome, and the floor is yours. Am I pronouncing your name correct?
Close.
Queso?
Queso. Yep.
Queso? No,
Yep.
I want to say it correctly. Queso, so teach me.
Yes. Tori Queso.
Thank you, Ms. Queso. Yes, and your team, I believe we also have Gene Carroll. He's your colleague as well?
He is my colleague, but I will be doing the presentation, and I don't know if I can get a share screen ability because I have a quick slideshow to go through, if that's okay.
Yes, we can have, we can have your assistant. Chanel?
To be able to now.
Yeah.
Great.
All right. Thank you, Chanel.
Perfect. Okay. Da-da-da. Let me know when you can see it. There we go. Can everybody see the screen?
Yes, now we are. Yes.
Awesome. All right. So a plan for carbon-free and healthy schools in New York City. So again, my name is Tori Queso. I am the campaign director for carbon-free and healthy schools, which is, I won't read through all of this. I can share this with everyone after the meeting, so you can take a little bit more of a deeper dive. But it is a campaign calling for the city to accelerate solar installation as well as conduct deep energy efficiency retrofits on all New York City public schools by 2030, paired with doing the work under a project labor agreement that will allow access and opportunities to pre-apprenticeship programs that offer direct entry into union apprenticeships and opening up apprenticeship spots to get some lifetime good union jobs into the communities that need it most. So Carbon-Free and Healthy Schools is first and foremost an environmental and social justice campaign. So by investing in the schools at full implementation, as I just described, can create 45,000 good union jobs in New York City communities, can make schools healthier and safer for our students, teachers, and staff. We can take on climate change and help the city meet its emissions reduction goals by decreasing carbon emissions by 75,000 tons annually, which is the equivalent of taking 154,000 cars off the road. And it will save $275 million per year in energy costs, which is the second highest cost for the Department of Education, which is the trend that we see nationally as well. We are finding ourselves in a very opportune time with the passage of the Federal Inflation Reduction Act, which allows municipalities to fund up to 50% of solar installation projects through their direct pay provision in the act. So as I said, we're calling on the acceleration of solar installation to a rate of 150 schools per year, with completion of all schools with the retrofits by 2030, and conducting these retrofits and solar installation work under a project labor agreement. So Climate Jobs New York is a coalition of unions representing 2.6 million workers in the state, and we're advocating for clean energy economy at the scale that climate science demands, while creating good union jobs and supporting more equitable communities and a more fair New York. Carbon Free and Healthy Schools has a steering committee made up of 6 union affiliates, the New York City Building Trades, the Central Labor Council, DC 37, which represents a lot of the kitchen staff and some of the nurses, 32BJ, which represents a lot of the maintenance staff inside of schools, UFT, the teachers, and the Council of Supervisors and Administrators. So the principals and administrators all are on this steering committee. We have recommended to the city an initial list of 100 schools that are all located within environmental justice areas that have some of the highest rates of childhood asthma hospitalizations. And we're recommending that these schools get prioritized in the first phase of implementations. About 71 of them have already been deemed solar ready. So their roofs are good to go and they should be able to just install the solar. And then another 29 of them were schools that require additional roof repairs and some infrastructure upgrades. So with that in mind, just want to share. So we'll be discussing the Manhattan schools and then specifically the schools that are within Community Board 12. But this is one of the examples just to give you an idea of what work needs to be done. Jacob August Reese in Manhattan. We have an estimated solar capacity of 176 kilowatts. And the HVAC work that would be done, the roof work that would be done, LED retrofits, window repairs, and then the solar installation. And you can see mostly uses fluorescent lighting, heating controls aren't working, the roof is leaking and needs to be replaced. So that would need to be done before the solar installation. So for all 5 boroughs for this list of 100 schools, the total estimated cost is coming in just south of $330 million. And the estimated cost of installing the solar would be about 42.3 if you round up. For Manhattan, we're recommending 18 schools with an estimated cost of almost $82 million. And then we have 5 schools that would be located in Community Board 12. It's the list of the schools: Duke Ellington, Ellen Laurie, Professor Juan Bosch, Washington Heights, and B. Fuller Rogers School. Altogether, so all 5 of these schools are actually solar ready. So if you had a solar contractor come in, they could slap on the solar panels and we would have an estimated solar capacity of 86 kilowatts at the estimated cost of about $300,000. And the total estimated cost with all of the retrofits, including like windows, HVAC, all of those upgrades would be 3.923. So the financing, as I said, we're at a very opportune moment in time with the Inflation Reduction Act. For the total project, it would be $8.25 billion. The solar portion of it, about 40% of it would be financed through the Inflation Reduction Act, so $1.32 billion. And then through the Inflation Reduction Act, the retrofitting, so the energy efficiency retrofitting would fund about 20% of the funding, which is an unprecedented amount of federal funding that is available to the city, which is why we are urging a sense of urgency about taking, beyond just that the climate needs it, where we're at a time when the financing is available for a good portion of it. And just an example of, if you did a solar installation on 150 school buildings, you'd have almost, it would cost about $45.3 million. You'd get 19.2 million of that in the IRA tax credits. Get some rebates from NYSERDA, you get some further incentives, and we're projecting that the annual solar revenue would be $2.9 million. and which outpaces the loan payments that you would have to pay for a bridge loan to finance it. So essentially, the payback period would be 4 years. So it's a project that would pay for itself with its cost savings relatively quickly in terms of capital projects. Over 30 years, you would save 44.1 million, and that's just with the 150 school buildings, not the entire school district, which is 1,200, 1,300 buildings. And the direct job creation for just solar installation on these 150 schools would be 185 jobs. And I just wanted to touch real quick because workforce development is a really big part of this. We do view this as a green jobs initiative. Just go through the direct entry pre-apprenticeships really quickly. So the Apprenticeship Readiness Collective is comprised of 4 pre-apprenticeship programs: C-Skills, which is inside of the schools, and some of its funding is received from the Department of Education, so they have a direct partnership there. New, which is non-traditional employment for women. Helmets to Hard Hats, which assists active duty veterans and reservists into transitioning into careers within the building trades. And Pathways to Apprenticeship, which is a direct entry pre-apprenticeship program for low-income communities for placement. And it began as a program for justice involved individuals. So there is a good amount of that still in there. And those provide direct entry into union apprenticeships and are very successful. C-Skills actually citywide has the highest retention and success rate. So they are very good at what they do. And it would be our goal to work with the city and with community boards and local organizations to do the recruitment in the same communities where we're doing the work, so that the economic benefits are paired with the environmental benefits and the infrastructure improvements in the schools. So I don't want to take up too much time. I want to leave some time for questions. If there's any gaps I can fill in or any answers I can questions I can answer, I would be happy to do so.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Ms. Queso, right?
Yep.
Thank you. And I also want to thank your colleague, Mr. Carroll. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us. So as usual, members, did you have any question? Okay, I see Jacob, I see Maria. Yes, Jacob, you will be first.
Oh, I think Maria was first, but
Maria has the chance before, so we're gonna make sure that you will.
I'll
Okay.
wait.
I'll be quick, Maria.
No problem. That's no problem.
Tori, Jean, thank you both for this presentation. On the whole, I just wanted to say I feel like this sounds like a fantastic program and a really great initiative, really great moment to capitalize on the federal funding of climate projects for sure. Was just curious which, if any, city agencies have been in the loop about this project and sort of where things stand
That's a great question.
so far.
Sure. So we have met with the DOE and SCA. We've also had many meetings. We've met with I guess transitioning out former first deputy mayor Grillo and also chief of staff Carone. And actually just recently we we gave a tour to one of our apprenticeship facilities, well, not ours, the electricians training facility with the mayor. So we went over the program with him and he met with a bunch of our pre-apprentice graduates as well as apprentices, and it went very well. We have a follow-up meeting with him and our principals coming up in the coming weeks. We've also met with RIT and some of the environmental organizations as well, and many city council members.
All right.
Great, that's fantastic. I think I'm still a younger, newer member of the board. I'm not sure how how best we conduct business, but I feel like if I could express to my fellow board members here that I feel like whatever we can do to support this project would be fantastic. And I know my colleagues on the Health and Environment Committee would be really interested too. Thanks.
Yes. Thank you, Jacob. Yes, this is very important. It's very important issues, and I think the entire community, should be involved in this. Maria, please.
Thank you so much. Listening to the presentation and looking at the what New York is all about, when you walk into every street, every avenue, there are constructions going up or down, sideways, all over the city. I'm concerned that we are not paying attention to putting together or to opening the path for education and constructions and for the younger generation. I think most of the money, federal money, should be invested in building of the force that will continue to upgrade New York, because New York is falling apart. If you see every building around, that needs something to be done. And I think that urging the federal elected officials to come on board and to push for trade schools, you mentioned electrician, plumbers, and things like that, which are very honorable professions and that people don't give merits to. But those are professions that are extremely necessary. The infrastructure of New York is also lacking. So I think that maybe in the future, we give us a little more information of what the resources that could be pushed by us to make sure that they are put at the front of the our priorities. Sometimes we just don't realize that those things that are in need. So I think that we need to hear a little more specifics about what the plans is as you presented. I'm really urge especially young women that are also needs to to try to lead them into different professions and jobs. So I think that we'll be I'll be happy to hear a little more, Faye, about this project, how the length of the project, and we're talking about billions of dollars that we can benefit of, and that we need to hear a little more about and see how we can expand it and to make sure that our young people and also the not the younger, but the middle ages people from, like, let's say 25 to 35, that they will have an opportunity to be trained in some of those jobs that are so necessary. So thank you so much for what you presented, but I think we need to do a follow-up on that. The sooner the better.
Sure, yeah, and we agree with essentially everything you just said. The city recently, in the past few months, won a federal grant for workforce development and like pre-apprenticeship training. And I think one thing that we are big on advocating for is making sure that that money goes towards training people from untraditional communities than some people would think would be in the trades, and putting it towards making sure that the pre-apprenticeships that they're going into feed into these union trades that provide benefits, provide 401ks, provide on-the-job training and lifetime careers, and allow them to buy houses, send their kids to school, go on vacation, all of these great things that jobs should be providing you with. So we absolutely agree with you, and we can certainly we have a whole team of workforce development people that we can certainly get some more information from them and share with you.
Okay. Anything else, Maria? Guillermo, do you have questions? I
Not really, I'm
tried.
okay, I'm okay.
Okay. All right. How
The
about
only
you,
thing is
Louis?
that, Faye, if I
yes.
may ask, just add a little bit that if we have known as much as we know tonight, a few weeks ago, we were have been able to advocate in our priorities for more funding because we didn't do as well in the recommendation priority by the community board. And this is extremely important since the number of young people that are out there, that is a really something that we need to tap very seriously on. This could have been ranked highly in our priorities for 2023-24 for Community Board 12. So, I'm a little sad about that, but I think that if you come back and we start working on this thing early on in the year, we can see great results. I mean, really, I'm very serious about it, because you walk our street and see the numbers of young people who are just standing, doing nothing, and we're not providing them with the tools for making sure that it's not just buying a house, it's just providing for when they retire, they cannot rely just on Social Security. They need a pension, the unions, pensions and so on and so on. So I need to take, we need to take this very seriously. Thank you. I'm sorry, Faye. I'm a little one, you know me, I always have a little more to ask, but this is extremely important.
But this is the purpose of this meeting, Maria. You don't have to apologize. I'm glad that you're asking questions. And I hope the rest of our colleagues ask questions as well, because one thing that I have learned in life is that the question that you or I may not dare to ask, other will do, and the rest can learn. You always learn from people questions, even your own questions. And, some people, they are kind of timid, thinking that the question may not have no validity or maybe, insane, whatever, but no. All questions are good, and I welcome all of that. You have another one, by the way. Teasing you. All right.
I will just throw out there that yes, we would have loved to have gotten in time for this to be on the priorities for this year. But what we can ask of you this year is to communicate to the borough president, to your city council members, to the mayor, and to Department of Education and all folks involved that you do support this. And it's not a one-year project, it is a multi-year project through 2030. So next time the capital budget and priorities come around, we'll work with you to make sure that we get it in on time.
Thank you. How about Louis? Do you have a question, or Michelle?
No questions.
Okay, and I guess Michelle, you don't have a question, right?
No.
No. All right. I do have a few questions. And I'm going to try to do my best. What are you presenting? One of the things that I noticed is you report, if I'm not mistaken, that you are working with 5 schools in our district, right? 5 schools.
The list that we recommended for prioritization for the first phase of it includes five schools in your district. Yes.
Yes. One thing that I noticed is among this school, if I'm not mistaken, there is no charter school in there, right?
No, well, I mean, we're focused on public schools, but if there is a charter school housed inside of a public school, we of course will advocate for that to get the same upgrades, because we're focused more on the buildings than the charter school itself. So, recognizing that there are multiple buildings that have multiple schools within them, we wouldn't like cut out the square footage of the charter school.
Yes, I don't know. I just thought, because this is also about, more than anything about environment, and, anything that is good for the environment that we can work with, I guess you'll be part of this initiative. But anyway, there must be reason in there that hopefully we don't have it right now, but as probably in the future that may happen. But whatever it is. So my question, my next question to you would be, how do you go about engaging a school in this, in this matter? So, like, what is your approach? How did you get in contact with them? Did you contact directly with the principal? How exactly do you go about to make them aware of this project?
Well, so on our steering committee, we do have the UFT as well as the Council of Supervisors and Administrators. So that is very helpful in us, getting direct contact and communication with the teachers inside of the schools as well as the principals. So they are our sort of bridge to those schools.
Yeah, because and I think the entire district should be involved in this. The entire school district should be involved, and having only 5. I mean, I don't know how aggressive you had been in this, of course, and for something like that, I think that definitely. Have you have any direct contact with the superintendent office?
Me personally, no, but I just want to make clear that we're not only advocating for these 5 schools or only advocating for this list of 100 schools. Our goal is for the entire New York City public school district, every single building to be done. This is just the first step that we're recommending. And the way that we determined it was we figured the fastest way to get going was to install solar onto buildings that were already solar ready. So DCAS has a list of solar ready schools that they did a evaluation of. So we took that list, we narrowed it down to schools that are within environmental justice areas. And 5 of those schools happen to be in Community Board 12. And that way you can kickstart the savings from the solar installation. And our recommendation is obviously to reinvest those savings into doing further retrofits and further installations.
Yes. I also wanted to express, just for the record, which is important, and I'm sure the same way that you guys decided to join us, our meeting, which we are very thankful, because this is a channel also for folks that may not, that they haven't been aware in the past about this, of your existence. This is a way, and I hope that the same way you keep on probably presenting in another committee and finding other channels to bring your awareness about this important, matter. So the reason why I mentioned precisely the superintendent office is because since they are, the main player in this, or the main representative of the entire school district, I think it is in the best interest for both. So that he can promote this idea, encourage other, schools. So I would like to see from 5, the 39 schools that he have under his wing, if it's possible. And you will decide under your discretion which school you may want to work with. But to having more option on this, I think it's all the way a good thing. That's the way I see this. I do have 2 more questions, I think. Yes. One of the questions that I have, I noticed that you mentioned that you had a lot of support from unions, which have whatever number of millions, as you mentioned, 2.6, I think that you mentioned about the members. I don't know the number on them. That's something that I would have to research, but I know that definitely it represents, a lot of folks. So my question to you is, what are these unions that have supporting you, that you feel that have been supporting you consistently? if you can volunteer the names or under your discretion. I
So
put-
for this specific campaign?
Yes,
Or, yeah, so, every member of the steering committee, all of the affiliates, have been very, supportive of it. It's on their priority. I won't say it's on the top of their priority list, but it is on their priority list because some of them are in bargaining and negotiations right now. So that tends to be a priority.
and what is their
also-
names?
Oh, so in the steering committee, we have the New York City Building Trades. We also have the New York City Central Labor Council, which is the AFL-CIO of New York City. And then we have specific individual inside of the school unions. We have our UFT, which is
UFT.
the teachers, CSA, which is the like principals and supervisors and administrators, 32BJ, and then also DC 37. So the
That's a
city,
great support.
yes,
That's a
we
great
think so too.
Yes.
Yes, and they all, it's building trades, obviously, they will get some work out of this, but the rest of them, it's more about just providing a safe and healthy learning environment, work environment, increasing resiliency for the communities, because oftentimes, I'm sure you have all seen that during times of emergency, the schools become sort of the center for everybody to go to, especially, during Hurricane Sandy and floods that we've seen and all of that, and the workers are the ones who keep those places open during those times. So they're all very much invested in this campaign and want to see it succeed.
Good. So one thing that I would like to ask you, throw out this or your projection, I should say, or your company projection, because this is I guess an effort that is in collaboration with many folks. So in your opinion, what has been, and perhaps Mr. Carroll may want to go into this as well, what has been one of the most challenging issues that you think that you are or have been facing on this?
So I would say the most obvious issue that we had for the majority of the year was funding, because we, were advocating for using some of the ARPA funds to fund some of this for the next couple of years, and then also using capital money. There's a limited amount of state money. There's, state building aid reimbursement that SCA gets sort of automatically, but also like a limited amount of money in a Green Schools initiative, but it's $59 million. That's a drop in the bucket, and it has to be split up throughout the entire state. So we need more of that, essentially, from the state. But with the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act, which I think almost nobody was expecting to happen, we got this huge windfall of opportunity for financing. So that's why we have jump-started sort of pushing this urgency in taking advantage of it, because you never know when we're going to have a turnover in administration. Yes. And you might as well take advantage of support when you can get it. And that's also this is a trend that we're seeing sort of throughout the country, that states and municipalities are putting some money and investment behind these types of initiatives. Boston announced a $2 billion initiative for their schools. So it's definitely something that is getting pushed not only by our coalition and similar coalitions in other various states, but it's in the forefront of climate agenda and policy. Apart from that, I think typical first year of administration, sort of people figuring out who exactly to go to and kind of the logistics of internal communications in the administration, I would say, would be our second biggest challenge, but we're getting there. we're meeting directly with the mayor. So that's, I think, start from the top.
Who has been longer and I mean with this in this with this project, Mr. Carroll or you?
Who has been longer?
Longer, yes.
I think we both got kind of hired around the same time, but I've been specifically, this is Carbon Free and Healthy Schools is me. I'm the director of it. Jean helps out with some other things too. So
Yeah, my main role at this point was been trying to organize these sessions with the borough president's office. We've done briefings for 4 of the 5. We're now engaged in reaching out to community boards that are in the area where the targeted schools are. So for example, we're also trying to reach out to Community Board 11 in Northern Manhattan. Some of the schools fall in Community Board 11, and then there's 9 or 10 other community boards across the other 4 boroughs. That's our initial start. If we had more capacity, we would go to more schools, but we have a certain amount of capacity. And I guess it's important to note that to build on what Tori just said, a key reason that we're doing this grassroots effort, we're not just talking to the borough presidents, we're trying to talk to the community boards and the local community leaders, is the mayor has a million things coming at him each day.
Yes.
Every administration does. We know how this functions. And for us to have our issue strongly on his radar screen, we need, a push on him in the best sense, from the grassroots, from the elected leaders, both. And that's what this is about. It's about generating the support. And we think that what we're trying to advocate for, well, it's the issue of climate change. And we believe that every single
It's real. Yes.
organization and entity in our society, churches, unions, businesses, governments, retirees, everybody has to get engaged in this question because it's about the entire human race. So this is our little slice of it. And one thing, Tori, I don't know if she mentioned it, but she usually does. One of the reasons this is a strategy, this is an amazing statistic. 70% of all the carbon emissions in New York City come from buildings. 70.
It's huge.
And of course, about 1,600 or 1,700 of those buildings are the public schools. So what can we do? We analyzed where we can make an impact to start this rolling. We're going to get engaged in the schools, because if we can reduce the cost of energy, which is the second highest cost in the school system, it will help the budget, it'll help the environment, it'll improve the quality of the schools, which has a positive educational outcome. So in the best sense, it's a win-win for the communities and the city and the environment. And in the process,
Yes.
we're going to create, we're building a new industry. So that's why the unions
It's so
themselves
important.
are committed to
Yes.
climate change. But of course, if there's major investments in building a new industry, the unions want to be there to make sure that the jobs are decent paying jobs, as Tori talked about, and with good benefits and good training. And we bring people into the apprenticeship programs that reflect the diversity of New York and deal with some of the historical inequities that we know have existed. So this is an opportunity, sort of historical. And the bottom line is, we need to demonstrate success, because we believe that if we can get these first 100, 150 schools done in the next 5-6 years, the benefits it'll create a snowball effect. And there'll be people will be clamoring for more financing. And that's, of course, the big question. How do we get continued financing? That's what this is all about, building
Huge, yeah.
the support, not horizontally, but from the bottom up and the top down. Classic political support that we need from the community. And what is more grassroots than the schools, right?
That's right.
And we have more
Absolutely.
work to do. We need to get the schools even more involved. But we have, District Council 37 has 8,000 members across the school system that are in the schools. And the challenge for that union is to get those members engaged in this question, while they're also dealing with tremendous struggles around their contract, the COVID issues, workplace security. So we're going to try and do our best to build this campaign where we are recognizing the needs of the community in the most profound sense.
Thank you, Jim. Jean Carroll, yes, thank you. Well, in our role, and even before I mention what I'm about to mention, I just wanted to say that the idea of getting in contact with the Board of President, I think it's one of the best idea, because Board of President definitely, I personally feel that I know a little bit of his character in terms of his leadership, I should say, and tends to get things done. And I know that he's committed to help you. This is something that, it's going to happen. Whatever he can promise, and he could be a great asset, definitely. So whatever he offers and whatever opportunity you get to be in contact with him and work with him, don't lose 1 minute. Take it at face value and run with it, because I know that he definitely can get a lot of things to get a lot of things to be materialized for you. Definitely, he can help you, in other words. So what I wanted to say next is that in our role as a community board, being one of the voices, in our community, so if there is anything that you think that we can help you with, that we have not mentioned, but I'm sure that it will fall into the frame that, James said about, getting to involve the entitled community and so forth. But if there is any idea that you can think of that we maybe, that we can help you, so you can count with our support, definitely. And I hope you get to present another community like Jacob, mentioned. Definitely, I think, we all have our own audience, and perhaps the audience that may be or watch this meeting every month, for example, the health and environment, which I think it's so wonderful. As Steve is a very knowledgeable and well-connected person. He knows like every corner in our community, and he would be a great asset to, for this initiative. So I highly suggest that you may want to contact him and present. Jacobs is also part of that committee. He's mentioned, and I know Jason also can definitely help you. But in addition to, whatever we can do as a committee of the entitled board, do not hesitate to contact us. So, and this is actually a public commitment, because this is in YouTube, this is in Facebook, so we are committed to helping whichever way we can. So with that said, if my colleague, they don't have any other questions, I just wanted to thank you deeply for, making the time and making us, part of this, bring this awareness. And remember, contact the superintendent office also to see how far they can go with you. And you can always come back to our committee or let us know whatever, in which way we can help you. So thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you all for taking the time tonight as well.
Thank you.
Thank you to Chanel for her help in setting this up as well.
Yes, thank you. All right, so you're free to stay, continue with us. So we have our last segment in the agenda. And now we are going to, have the old and new business. I don't know if anyone may have any announcement. I do have, but I wanted to to allow someone that may go first. Anyone may have any announcement, Maria, Jacob, anything coming up?
No, really, I think this is very interesting meeting, conversation. I just would like to thank all the presenters and also you to put it together. I think we have a lot of work to do in 2023, and I think we ended the year in the high point, talking about employment, jobs, trade, schools, upgrading our schools and things like that. So I think that for me, I have nothing more to add for this year. So I wish everybody happy holidays, and there is no announcements at this point from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Well, I do have few announcements that I want to share with you. One of the first announcement that I learned is that this coming, I think it might be sometime this week. I don't know if it's going to happen Wednesday or Saturday, but it's possibly more than, I think it's going to be this Saturday. I will keep you posted. But I wanted to say that this past week, we were able for the first time, thanks to Council Member De La Rosa and also Isidro, Medina from BITS, who helped us to materialize the idea to put lights in St. Nicholas. So between 192nd and 183rd in St. Nicholas, they were able to put the holiday lighting. So St. Nicholas all the way through 183rd. It's for first time we have Christmas lights. One of the close neighbors and 192nd, 100 years old lady, she is so excited with the idea. She said, well, for the first time, I'm able to sit in my in my window, and it seems to, it's bringing me so much memory. This is 100 years old, senior, and to her, this is such a big, thing, and I cannot conquer enough with her. So a lot of people are very happy, and I wanted to say thank you, our council member, De La Rosa, and also Isidro for, helping our community to materialize this. This is something that we've been looking for so badly. So again, perhaps on Saturday, we're going to have some kind of a briefing in the block around 192nd, between 192nd and 191st, probably next Saturday. It's not confirmed yet, but the board, as soon as I get the details, I will pass it to the board so the board can share with the community. Anyone that wants to help us to say thank you, so you're welcome to come. We may have some ginger tea in there, I don't know, but let's see what happens. So the next announcement that I have is also that I believe that in 2023, next year, CETA or CETA, whatever they pronounce, but this is a charter school. They inform us that they will open its first 2 middle schools, CETA South Bronx Middle School, and the in the school district 7, South Bronx, and also CETA Manhattan Middle School in our district starting next year. So the middle school, I believe that not only CETA Middle School will start with the 6th grade, and also they planning on add 1 grade each year to serve 6th and 7th grades at a scale. So, and they are looking forward subsequently to add, a high school grade as well. So they are inviting the community to provide inputs about, this vision and the plan that they have for 2023. And they are asking folks to contact them at the following number, area code 201-357-0742. Again, 201 area code 357 0742, or people may also contact them via email at info@zetas, ZETA schools, .org. So, and I believe these are the two announcements that I have. For some reason, I feel that something is there is something else that I wanted to announce, but it doesn't come to me right now. So I don't know what else it is that I wanted to announce. Hey, Guillermo. So Maria, anything else? How the holiday is treating you? Say something. I know you have something coming up on the 33rd, isn't it?
I am having a award ceremony on December 21st, 22nd, Thursday, December 22nd at the prison. We are going to be awarding recognition to young people who have done an excellent job within our community. So everyone is invited, of course. The police is also going to join with us. So remember, December 22nd, 6:30 p.m. at 2207 Amsterdam Avenue, corner of 170th Street. I attended yesterday. I need to say that. Today is Monday. Yes. We saw the holidays skating at the Denny Farrell Park on 145th Street, where we host some hundreds, dozen. There were like about maybe 100 youngsters skating. There was a fantastic program put together. Sean Abreu, City Council person, also, and Mark Levine were attending. And I hope that the dream of Idanis Rodriguez is having a skating rink at the High Bridge Pool area materialize soon. But anyway, it was just wonderful to see so many young people from 5 years old all the way to to seniors participating in that. So anyway, happy holidays. As we said, we celebrate Kwanzaa, we celebrate Hanukkah, or have the Catholic religious holidays. So be safe and just enjoy the celebration, because 2023 is not going to be a very good year unless we put our resources together, including in our schools. Okay, thank you so much, Faye.
No, thank you, Maria. I also wanted to remind folks that, I believe there is a party that is going to be held on the, La Casa del Mofongo on 207 this upcoming Sunday. I believe our leaders are going to have a party, and they are inviting the community. There is also on the 22nd, we're working on it and trying to help them. The Star Senior Center and 187 in Wathor, they may have an activity for the seniors and there. So we're trying to bring a group of dancers. Let's see how we can, help them with it. And basically, I guess that this is it.
Faye.
Yes.
Sorry, before you wrap up, I did have one thing I wanted to bring up under new business.
Sure.
And also,
Yes.
there's a student from the CUNY School of Public Health who is in our Q&A here, who said they spoke with Chanel about having a couple of minutes to share about a project they're working on. I'm wondering
Sure.
if we have a moment to hear from them.
Sure. Okay, no problem. Yes. Chanel, there is someone, I don't know, it's Joino, but the name is I don't know if this is even a name, is OUED RA01 Waldra. Chanel, can you promote this person?
Yeah, she's been promoted.
Thank you. All right. Okay. I don't know how to pronounce Odrat 01. You okay? Please say so. Are you listening to us? Hello. Jacob, do you know this person name?
I don't. I was just chatting in the Q&A, but hopefully they can hear us. And if they can, we can't hear you. So would love to hear what you have to present.
Wodra, how would you pronounce his name? Wodra? It's not listening to us. I don't know. For some reason, it's not. Hello, is anyone want to make an announcement right now?
It seems like she's having issues with her audio microphone.
Oh, well, let's give it just at least 2 minutes. We have about 12 minutes left.
Is this lady on the telephone, or is she on Zoom?
I think it's a
or as a man? You know, I don't know who it is, but we need to try to get in, please.
Hello, can't you hear us? Can't you listen to us? Hello. Well, I really don't know what to say, but Wedra, I guess that how you may pronounce Wedra or Widra. Wedra 01. Wedra 01.
It could be Quadra. It could be Quadra.
Well, it doesn't
Maybe
have the
it's-
C. It's only have
Uh-huh.
OUEDRA.
It's like maybe
01.
all right.
Oh, I guess that she yes, well, she calling now. I guess someone is calling now. Yes. Well, I think phone number ending in 490. Can't you listen to us? Can't you unmute yourself? Hello, phone number ending in 490. Are you listening to us? Can you unmute yourself, please? All right. So
That's unfortunate.
yeah, very much so. Guys, I wanted to say Michelle, Jacob, Louis, Maria, if any one of you want to help us with the agenda, I mean, not with the agenda, excuse me, with the minutes, it would be much appreciated if you can. So if you can send me, you know.
I took some notes, Faye. I can send them to you to help with the minutes. I also did have one last thing I wanted to bring up real quickly, if that's all right.
Sure.
I wanted to just draw attention to an issue that I think may come up in our community regarding youth. It is something that hasn't happened here, but this did happen down in Lower Manhattan earlier this week. And I think it's just a real important thing to talk about briefly. Yesterday at the main branch of the New York Public Library, there was a very large protest over a drag story hour. And if you have heard of them in the news, there's been a lot of pushback against drag story hours recently. If you're not familiar, the art of drag is where a performer uses costume and makeup to accentuate and exaggerate aspects of gender. Typically, these are men impersonating women, but not always the case. And it's something that has been happening around the country, but I was very surprised to hear about this hearing happening in New York City. And although it hadn't happened in our community, it's alarming that it's happening here at all. And so I just wanted to kind of bring that issue up and express to the board and to everyone else that those programs are a safe space for children. And whenever we're talking about the issue of safety of our youth, especially kids, that's extremely important. And I do want to hold space for that conversation. Sure. And I imagine it may happen that that becomes an issue in our own community too. And if there are members of the community out there that are concerned about the safety of these events, I personally am happy to speak with you about those concerns. And also, you know, through the board, we could get some folks in here who are engaged in that programming to just speak more about what that actually is and why those are positive, reading-friendly spaces for children, but really upsetting to see essentially what should have been a nice program for young kids turn into a really aggressive protest, really profanity-laden. And I think we can all agree that profanity-laden protests are no safe space for any children. So I just wanted to raise that issue tonight. I think that's really important and probably something we're going to see more of in the coming year, unfortunately.
Well, thank you, Jacob, for bringing that up. And I think that, I don't know if it was to CNN that I didn't go in details or pay close attention, but yes, I think I saw something, some kind of protest around, I think it was on 42nd. It was on 42nd. Well, don't quote me on this, but I think I know that I see some kind of protest. I think it was on CNN, but I didn't, pay much of attention or devoted time to really get exactly to know the details. But like you say, this is something that is happening simultaneously in different, places. And we don't want to get caught by surprise when we have a problem on top of us. So anyone that you think that we should invite, even if you want to volunteer to bring or expose that, or share with our community, by all means, let's make this probably one of our next item for conversation in our next meeting. I think this is very important. So sort of we'll be prepared in advance. So if we get to know or educate ourselves about this issue, we will be prepared definitely to confront any situation that we might be facing as a community. And I really thank you. This is very important. Yes, Maria.
I just remember that we in our community board have a committee headed by Richard Waldman that is for the
LGBTQ, yes.
Yeah, and I think that maybe we could put something together between his committee and the youth committee, making a point on educating about things like this that shouldn't happen any place, but if they do happen, that we are prepared as a community board 12 to deal with. So I don't know if that will satisfy Jacobs, but I think that at this point, I think that, it needs to be addressed between the two committees and even going further into the health committee also. So I think that we need to, put our heads together and come up with a plan of action. I did see the protest, a little part of the news, and of course, it was very short what they said.
It was on CNN.
So Jacob, maybe we can, speak about this thing soon and engage Richard also and his committee, his task force. I don't know if it's a full, I think it's a full committee though. It's a task force or the full committee.
They don't have any members.
We do have one in our community board 12. I think that is the only community board that do have this particular committee. So
we do have still have that committee, and I believe it's only Richard Ullman and Tanya. I don't know who else is in there. I think Curtis used to be there, I think. Don't quote me on that. But I think that definitely it would be so important. Perhaps even we can invite them so, they can join the conversation, because this is something that, deserve attention. And if we can bring that to the light, it would be, I'm sure a lot of people is going to appreciate that. We ought to know. Not only need, but we ought to be informed what's going on, so we don't be, caught by surprise. Yes. So thank you, Jacob, for bringing that up. Okay. If nobody has nothing else to add to our agenda, I want to thank you. I want to wish you a wonderful holiday season. Your family, your friends. Wishing you all the best, and I really hope to see you in one of these parties or get together. And when I get the day for the briefing about thanking our leaders, I'm going to send you the invitation so you can join us. I wish the board come with their banner in support of this, because this is the first time that St. Nicholas actually they get this, you know, holiday lights, and that means so much. We have the kids thrown out the window looking at, and I know, I think this is wonderful. And very last, which I almost forgot, I want to thank the community affairs and NYPD and several prisons that, you know, they were actually they brought a lot of families to Target downtown on Saturday and provide each children with a gift certificate of $50. I think this is really awesome. I got the I feel privileged that I had the opportunity to recommend a few families. And I know among this family, there was a family that has 6 children. So imagine 6 children times $50, so they can buy toys and whatever they want at Target. They were jumping all over. They were very happy. So I wanted just to thank them, you know, for this initiative. So with that said, so thank you so much. And this meeting is being adjourned at 8:58 p.m. Luis, Michelle, Maria, Jacob, Guillermo, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Be well. Thank you. So we'll be in touch soon.
Happy holidays.
Happy holiday and a healthy holiday.
Happy holiday, everyone. Keep safe, healthy.
Thank you. Likewise. Thank you.